very effectively, the party will come out stronger, and the governors are reasonable people, and the governors are not people who are interested in leaving the party, because the governors are beneficiaries of the existence of the PDP. So the governors definitely will be reasonable enough to sit down to discuss the issues with the leadership of the party. So we will resolve the issues. But I understand that the disagreement is that certain delegates from Adamawa were given observer status instead of delegates status, and so they walked out, and in sympathy a few people must have gone ahead with them. So whatever happened will be resolved, and that I'm assuring you it's an internal affair of the party. Things will be taken care of.
Well, that's Governor Godswill Akpabio of Akwa Ibom State. He's also the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum. He seems to be very calm this time around. He says this is the big family. We've heard this over and over again from members of the PDP, especially from the leadership of the party. It's a big family issue. We're going to resolve this. Barrister Okari, with this reaction from Governor Akpabio, he seems to be very calm. He seems to be collected. It seems that he's not surprised at what happened.
Well, I don't think he would be surprised at what happened, because the events prior to this time, there's been a build-up of various events prior to this time. There have been issues around the election of who would be the chairman of the Governors Forum, the wider Governors Forum that encompasses not just PDP governors, but governors of other parties as well. There have been issues around that with the emergence of Jonah Jang on one side and Rotimi Amechi on the other side. There have been those issues. There have also been issues about, some of the governors who've been unhappy with various events within the party. So they've had these rumblings and these issues. So I think that Governor Akpabio clearly is an experienced politician, and therefore what he said is a reflection of the fact that this didn't come as a surprise. I mean, these problems didn't come as a surprise. I mean, like you mentioned, there have been issues in Adamawa State, there have been issues in Anambra State, and there have been issues in River State. So it is clear. I mean, these things are out there in the public domain.
Well, you just mentioned a very key. There have been issues in some states controlled by PDP. Is there any state actually that the PDP doesn't have a problem?
Well, I wouldn't know, because I'm not a member of the
PDP.
Well,
I can start to count for you.
Okay.
And there's been issue within the southwest states. They have several challenges, lot of issues. There's issue in River State. There's issue in Adamawa State. There's issue in Anambra State. There are issues in almost every state where you have PDP. This time around, do you think that the PDP is looking at some kind of implosion?
Well, I think the fundamental challenge which the PDP faces is that there isn't any kind of ideological cohesion. There isn't any ideological basis that is binding them together. It's a zero-sum game about power. And when politics is reduced to a zero-sum game and it's all about power, then you would have a situation or a context in which tension and division become a constant feature. So the challenge facing the PDP, and I think this is something which most Nigerians are concerned about, and this is beyond even the PDP, but the challenge for most people in politics is really, if there isn't an ideological basis, any ideological cohesion, principles which people can then congregate around, you would have this constant.
My point, what I'm trying to drive about, it seems that in the history of the PDP, we've not seen is this bad, isn't it? I don't think we've seen any situation in the PDP where they are factional PDP.
I think it is perhaps this bad because you have an unprecedented situation with a South-South president.
So it's about President Jonathan.
It is about power. And it's about the fact that President Jonathan is from the South-South. And it is about the fact that, really power has been in the North for a predominant number of years. Then it moved with the turn of events after Abacha to the Southwest with Obasanjo's presidency for 8 years. The North kind of had it back for a brief period. And then in the context with the backdrop of Yar'Adua's passing away, you now had the presidency in the South-South. Now, of course, the nature of presidential power and the nature of our politics and the concentration of power at the center is such that it is about Aso Rock. It's a zero-sum game. So it is about who is president come 2015. That is what all this is all about.
It seems Governor Akpabio is taking lightly what the situation really is. It does appear that he's taking it with levity. And it looks like he's underestimating the decisions or the step they've made. Those governors who stayed to work out.
Well, I don't think, I don't know Governor Akpabio personally, but from what I saw him say, I think it would perhaps maybe be unfair to think he's taking it with levity. I think what it is that he would be seeking to downplay what might be perceived as a major split within the PDP family.
Okay. Well, maybe he's downplaying the situation or not. Well, these people on the other side of the divide seems not to be taking things lightly. When you listen to this particular speech from this faction, where we see former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and we saw about 7 governors in the PDP, most of them from the north, and in their midst, we also we can see Governor Rotimi Amechi of Rivers State. Some people will say one won't be surprised at that. Well, let's listen to this man who appears to be the leader of the new faction of the PDP. His name is Alhaji Kawu Baraje. Let's take a listen to him and we'll return.
The person you voted in as the secretary of PDP is still the secretary of the PDP. Stand up. Is it stand up? Say, Samson. Hey, touch him. The deputy chairman who was manipulated out of the voting system today, whom you happily voted in March 2012, Samson Jaja is still the deputy chairman of PDP. All other officers have been listed and will be announced tomorrow or on Monday, latest. Thank you very much. And I'm happy you noted that during our time, we were able to bring respite. The people who came on board and said they were going to reform never consulted, never asked the party. All we saw was they came like this and they said they were doing reform, which is against the constitution of the. But I told you at the beginning of my address, we have about 7 governors, all are lined up here. Yes. For the past 2 months, they have been trolling the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, consulting. Not only that, they went finally to the chairman, Bamanga Tuko. Our problems, our complaints were not listened to. That is the departure from that case and this one. I hope you will beg and listen to. So in the light of that, the constitution of our party, which I think as a president, you want to study very well, give us this opportunity today as bona fide members of PDP to now come out to the people and do the people's wish. And that's exactly what we are doing. It is our belief that there will be respite. If there is no respite, the PDP will continue to be PDP, and we shall continue to fight on the PDP until the PDP of our dream, of the family balance dream, becomes come back again.
That's Alhaji Kawu Baraje, the man who is being presented by this faction who have called themselves the new PDP, which is the old PDP this time around. But what we are seeing in the PDP, is it a crisis, one too many, or a crisis that will just fade away? Well, I have joining us again on the program from our Abuja studio, is Mr. Benson Enikuomain, is a public affairs analyst. Let me start with you, and if you will comment on this, Mr. Benson, can you tell us what you make of all this situation in the PDP? Especially, I know that you have experiences, personal experiences in the PDP as a former member of the party. So if you're talking to us, I'm very sure you are talking on some authority. Tell us what you make of these, having listened to Governor Akpabio and